What's up, Pirates? Ray Talks here with Awaken TCG, and today we're going to be looking at a graphic and showing you guys why Sakazuki is still the best deck coming into OP06. Like at the beginning, I'm not going to lie. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. At the start of OP06, there was a lot of Yamato, a lot of these new decks that weren't fully explored, but were still really strong because of their leader abilities. And so, like, if you're going to make a meta call, I think over here in the West, once OP06 releases, I think Yamato is great. So if we look at some of these decks, I think Yamato is great. Yellow is always an amazing option just because the skill ceiling is lower on those decks. And you can still perform at a very high level, especially with the trigger factor. And then, decks like Reiju, Perona, like they're still topping here. But I think now that the meta is settled into OP06 in the East, we can kind of tell. So this was results from this past weekend. We have 16 Sakazukis, 12 Gecko Morias. That's 28 black decks. And then obviously we have the black Luffy and the Perona as well, which is, just added to that total. And then we have yellow taking up another small little chunk, but it's literally all black. And it's because of Gecko Moria character, the 8 cost. Super good card. But Sakazuki here is still in the lead by far. It used to be Gecko Moria, but now it is switching. Sakazuki is still way too good. Let's go ahead and do the next day. So this was the 13th, and which is 5 days ago. This is the 14th, which is 4 days ago. Sakazuki still here taking the biggest chunks of flagships. I believe this is flagships, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, winning deck distribution. So this is decks that won. 17 Sakazuki, 15 Gecko Moria. We still have 3 Perona, and then 1 Luffy. Which still makes up a huge chunk of the total amount of wins. So like between these 2 days, there was 33 Sakazukis and 27 Gecko Morias, which is a lot. I mean, in total, it's probably over 80, 90 black decks that are winning. Yellow here taking a big cut, and then obviously here yellow as well, still showing presence. Because yellow is one of those decks where if you get a good run and you get lucky, you can take it all, right? Just because of the triggers. You still have to be good at the game. Don't get me wrong. You can get all the triggers in the world and still lose a game just because you're not fundamentally as sound as the player you're versing. So you still have to be really good on these decks. The only thing is, you can play them at the higher level easier versus like Sakazuki, where to play it at the highest level, it takes a lot of skill, and on top of that, if you make a single mistake on a deck like that, it can cost you. At least it does in OP05. I'm not sure how OP06 is, but Sakazuki is still destroying in OP06. It's like it just does not end. Maybe with OP07 it can be dethroned, but regardless, right now Sakazuki is still like the best deck in my opinion. At one point I probably thought it was Gecko Moria, but now as the meta is more settling in, I can kind of see that Sakazuki is still that deck. Like, there's not much that's out right now that can actually dethrone it. I think Gecko Moria has a decent matchup into Sakazuki, and that's why a lot of people play Moria as well. And because, you have the access to A-Cos Gecko Moria, and, you have good matchup spread into a lot of decks that KO, such as red, yellow. But at the end of the day, like, we know the issue here is A-Cos Gecko Moria. That is carrying some of these black decks, if not all of them, to a higher level. If that card did not exist, I think the full spread of winning deck lists would be a lot different. I don't think black would be as prominent as it is right now. But the good thing about this meta is, while yes, black is probably the best color, that doesn't mean you can't win on another deck. These other decks are super strong still and can still easily take a tournament, right? Like, even Nanami took one. There's a green Uta, Yamato, black, yellow, or was that red, yellow Sabos. Even here we have Perona, just a bunch of decks, Reiju, like so many decks that you can actually play and win with, right? If you're super good on a deck and you master it and you become an expert on it, and your opponent has like maybe a slight disadvantage because of he doesn't know the matchup and you know the matchup super well. I like to use the analogy like, when you play a low tier, let's say in Super Smash Bros, when you play a low tier, let's say you play Pikachu. I mean, maybe he's not a low tier, and I'm talking about Super Smash Brothers. Let's say you play like a true low tier, like a Mario, right? you know how to play against the fox because everyone plays foxes. So you're gonna get your combos off. You're gonna know your kill confirms. You know, you're gonna have these things ready to go when you verse a fox. If a fox player has never versed a Mario, he's gonna get caught out and not know how to DI some things, just because he's unaware of the matchup, right? So it's similar to this, right? If you master a deck like Perona and your opponent is not too fully aware at the highest level what a Perona is capable of, then there's room for error there, right? On the Sakazuki's player, on their part. So it's just a quick example. I don't know if you guys followed along, but regardless, if you play a off meta deck, or not off meta, maybe like a tier 2 deck. If you play a tier 2 deck into a tier 1 deck and you know the matchup in and out, you're gonna have a good chance at winning, especially if the opponent is not fully well versed in your tier 2 deck, if that makes sense. So there's always that factor, and so there's a lot of good decks that can take games and honestly still thrive in this meta. As you can see, yellow is still very prominent. Yellow is not bad at all. You can still do that. Green Uta is still good. Zoro somehow still making it through after all these sets, after it being nerfed, after everything. It's still, you know, making a comeback. So here we have one Zoro, one Bello Betty, interestingly enough, even a Nami, right? So just a bunch of decks are able to top. If we go back a couple of sets, it's not like that. It's Whitebeard, Law, Zoro, 80% of the whole tournament, and that's it, right? No other colors were ever prominent. No other colors were even present, honestly. And so now we do have a lot of decks. Like, yeah, black is still the majority, but we have just a slight amount of variations now. Like, it's not all just 50% one deck and 80% one color. Like, there's still a good amount of other decks that you can actually play and win. So I just wanted to make this video to showcase Sakazuki, show off these pictures. Like, Sakazuki is still one of the top decks. So if you're playing it right now, get ready to play it next set and you're gonna have good success. If you want to change it up but still be super powerful, you can play Gecko Moria. And if you want to just sack games, play Katakuri, right? Play yellow if you're just trying to win off sheer luck, because the decks are capable of that. And I don't want you guys to be like, oh, you know, you're discrediting yellow players just because you're saying that it's a casino and they're getting lucky to win. No, that's not what I'm saying. You can be the best player in the world, but you can only play Katakuri so good. If you get no triggers, you're out of luck. You can be the worst Katakuri player in the world. You get 5 triggers, I mean, odds are you're probably going to be in a better spot. So, yeah, you can play yellow, you can play black. Sakazuki is still going to be a top dog in OP06 in my opinion. But there are a good amount of other decks that you can try and actually play in tournaments and not feel bad about it and be like, well, I want to win, but I want to have fun. So maybe in this set, there's an in-between where you can pick a deck you have fun on and still be able to win, right? Like, for me, I'm going to try out Perona, and hopefully I can stick to that because Perona seems so fun. I can run my 10 Kazdofis. But for the most part, yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. I just wanted to rant and tell you guys that, you know, Sakazuki is still the best deck. And I'm looking forward to OP06. So we have Nats coming up. So I'm going to be practicing as much as I can for that with my limited time now. But, you know, yeah, we'll I'm trying to get some coaching for my brother done because I think he has what it takes to take it all right. And me, my goals, if I can get a top 32 placing, top 64, something like that, nothing too crazy. Can I win? I mean, I'm playing a Nell, so I can always trigger and get really lucky, but it's top cut at the end of the day. So we're going to have to go through some killers once we get to that portion of the tournament. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you guys later. Like this video, comment down below, subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.